if you come across this last document and if you want to know who edited this line or rather who created this image, who created this new slide here, you don't get to know that because the previous versions are lost. It could be in their own computers. What you only have is this last version, right? So again, this is not a very good practice in terms of software code, because in terms of software engineering, you need to have complete history uh, regarding everything that the software engineers did, everything, every revert or every upgrade, every bug fix, every feature. You have to have a kind of a history, because then you can easily track who did what. Why do we need to track that who did what part? Because when it comes to large softwares, it typically grows over time, right? Because you might start with some basic code, and then you move on to like large code base. Then usually in terms of enterprise applications, කිව්වේ local application එකක් කියලා හිතන්නකෝ නිකන්. Right? Enterprise applications, what happens is you don't only um, in your level 2 projects, let me approach this issue like this. In your level 2 projects, you will have like a mobile application and a backend API and a front end web application, right? But in terms of enterprise applications, you have like other software code as well, like background services, other software projects. So you could be having like unit tests, you could be having UI automation, everything that relates to your project could be residing in your code base. Now, when it comes to that, what happens is when it grows over time, you might get like different issues or other bugs. Bugs කියන්නේ software code එකේ එන error එකකට හරි. Now, when you get a bug, you might want to check when did this line of code introduced, when this feature was introduced, and who introduced it, and what are the files that was came with it. Likewise, you might want to audit this code, and when you go to audit this previous code, you might want to know all these previous changes and how it happened. Because if you have a like major catastrophe in your application, you might want to go back into a previous version, right? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේ අන්තිම version එකේ මොකක් හරි අවුලක් තිබ්බොත් කලින් version එකට ඔයගලන්ට ටක් ගාලා revert කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් මේ document ගැන software එකක් ගැන කියලා හිතුවොත් අන්තිම version එකේ ඔන්න මේ log වෙන්න බෑ කියලා ඔන්න කියනවා. customer ඒ කියන්නේ user කෙනෙක් report කරොත් එහෙනම් ටක් ගාලා error එක හදලා release එකක් දානට වඩා සමහර විට ඉක්මන් වෙන්න පුළුවන් පරණ වැඩ කර තිබිච්ච code එකට revert වෙන එකනේ. එතකොට එහෙම කරන්න නම් කලින් එක අපි ගාව තියෙනවා. Basically what when we say we want to track history and when we want to have a complete set of changes we did, what I mean is that we might want to go back and go forth and check what happened there, right? So I hope you understand why we need this kind of a controlling system to manage these versions. So that is why we have like a concept called version controlling. Here, what we are trying to say is manage changes to software code over time. So this is actually another piece of software that will allow you to easily manage these changes, called a repository. And we can easily manage these changes over time. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ මේ version controlling system එකකින් අපි කරන්නේ මේ අපි කරපු changes, කාලයක් තිස්සේ කරන් ආපු changes database එකට save කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඕන වෙලාවට ඒව ගන්න බලන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. There are few major version controlling systems like GIT or Subversion. or Mercurial. There are many things, but most popular one, usually when you, most of you guys might be coming across in the industry, will be Git. And with the popularity of GitHub and all those GitLab and every other hosting sites, this has become like a major version controlling systems. Now, what is the difference between Git and GitHub? It's actually very simple. Git is the version controlling system. GitHub is where you have your software code uploaded. It's kind of a hosting platform where you can save your code like Google Drive, but you can't save your software code into Google Drive, right? Because that is not, Google Drive is not built for that. But GitHub is similar, where you can like, okay, where you can save your GitHub code. I mean, where you can save your software code, and then you can manage it over time. Because we cannot like use external hard drives and pen drives to, share this code, right? ඒ කියන්නේ මේක දැන් pen drive වල දාගෙන hard drive වල දාගෙන මේ manage කරන්න බෑනේ. දැන් team එකක් remotely වැඩ කරද්දී එක තැන් වල ඉඳන් වැඩ කරද්දී ඒක access කරන්න central point එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට GitHub වගේ ඒවා GitLab කියලා තියෙනවා, තව කිසිවක් තියෙනවා ඉතින්. ඒවා ඒවට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ hosting site සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ එතන. ඒකට version controlling system එක මේ ගොඩක් ඒ වගේ use කරන Git. I hope we clarified that one. In this session today, you might be seeing set of words like repository, branch, clone. As I mentioned earlier, repository is the folder where the contents are tracked by Git, because as I mentioned earlier, we need to have a central database to save these changes. So repository is kind of like that. When you create a new project in GitHub also, we call that repository. And we used to call them as repos as well. So if you hear word repository, I'm referring to the place where we have saved our software code. And if you hear word branch, it simply means it is a version of your repository, right? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් repository එක කියන්නේ අපි මේ code එක save කරලා තියෙන තැන. එහෙම නැත්නම් folder එක. branch එකක් කියන්නේ ඒක version එක. හරි? branch කියන්නේ ඉතින් අත්තක් නේ තේරෙනවනේ නේ. එතකොට a clone is copy of repository. It is like copying. You can have a clone of a branch or a repository or anything. It doesn't matter. Simply it means that if you are going to copy the software code hosted in GitHub, if you're going to copy it to your local computer, then we call that process as cloning, and we call that what you left afterwards is the clone of your original repository, right? Don't worry if you can't like understand these words at a glance. We will try to go through the demonstration and see what and see how it going to affect your lives, if I may. Now commits is like event when you are trying to add or save changes to your repository, right? It's like clicking on the save button in Microsoft Word. If you click save once, we call it the commit. If you click save again, then we call it the second commit. And we can also name these commits as well. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් Word වල save වෙබුවොත් save වෙනවනේ. දැන් ඒ වගේ GitHub වල අපි එකට use කරන term එක තමයි commit එකක්. එතකොට save කරන හැම වෙලාවෙකම අපි මේ මොකද්ද මෙතනදී කරේ? නැත්නම් what we did. Imagine if when it comes to software projects, you might one person could be implementing the logging page, right? Now, if you implement, when you implement your login page and then you like commit it, you have to give a proper commit message saying that, okay, in this commit, I have added login page and the login functionality, and then you commit it or rather save it. And that is called a commit. හරි කරේ මොකක්ද කියලා save කරන එකට තමයි commit එකක් කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. And push is sending your changes. Then me commit කරන්නේ local machine එකනේ. You are committing these changes into a local machine to the clone. We learned that earlier. We are doing these changes to the clone. And after you do that to the clone, you have to send this change to the original repository, which is hosted in the GitHub. GitHub එකේ හරි GitLab හරි මම GitHub use කරන්න GitHub එකේ තියෙන එකට send කරන එකට යවන එකට තමයි push කරනවා. Right, again, what does push mean? Push means when you're trying to send all your commits or your changes to your original repository or the hosted repository. It could be like, depending on the context, this push could happen to your repository or a branch. It really doesn't matter. You can learn this stuff in the coming weeks because you're trying to start the software project. Now, head is a reference variable. It is the name of a variable where we store the last commit index, right? So imagine you have a commit. You just made a commit to your project, and we call that commit as the head. And if you made another commit, that last commit becomes your head. Likewise, this is like a reference variable. This will again come in handy when you are trying to understand different Git commands as well. Head කියන්නේ මේ variable එකක්. ඒක අර link list ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවද කියලා මම හිතනවා. මම හිතන්නේ නෑනේ. මේක නිකන් අර arrow එකක් ගහලා තියෙනවා වගේ අන්තිම commit එකට. අන්තිම commit එකට ඊතලයක් ගහලා තියෙනවා වගේ වැඩක්. මේ head කියන variable එක refer කරොත් අපි කොයි හරි වෙලාවකදී අපි කියන්නේ හරි අන්තිම commit එක. most current commit එක. හරි. එතකොට ඒක reference variable එකක් කිව්ව ඒක තමයි. එකකින් තියන් ඉන්නේ මේ commit තියන් ඉන්නේ. ඒකද පෙන්නගෙන ඉන්නවා. point කරන් ඉන්නවා. pointers ඉගෙන ගත්තනේ ඔයාලා. ඒ වගේ තමයි. right. Okay. We will try to do a hands-on. Basically, you have to learn all this in terms of theory. Everything you need to know is here, because what you mean by Git, what you mean by GitHub, that is all you need to know. Everything else comes with the practice, because practice is really important in terms of any tool. In terms of Git also, it is the same, because I as far as I'm concerned, when I am doing this project in my level 2, I had like a hard time understanding different concepts around GitHub and Git, because at a glance, because we are not used to these things, right? But that is actually can be changed, because these can be learned, and with practice you can easily understand these concepts. If you're not trying to, if you're not going to give some effort in terms of understanding these new things like Git, it could be Git, it could be algorithms, it could be CV, it could be Angular, it could be React. If you're not trying to commit into this learning process, then it's definitely going to be a little bit hard. So maybe when you're free, try to go through, since this is recorded, go through the recording and try to do it again on your own. Then only you can understand these things. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we have something called project on GitHub, that we call that as the origin. And if you clone it, then this repository or the files set of files comes to your local machine, and then we can do our changes, and then we can push these changes to your origin repository, right? So this is the basic workflow. Basic workflow means this is like for a single person. If you are working on a private project, then uh, this is the workflow that we are going to use. You create a project on GitHub, and then you clone it to your local machine, and you do your changes, and then you push it. These are the set of commands that we are going to use: git clone and the URL, git add, git commit, git push. You don't have to worry about all these other fancy things like U and M. These are basically what comes after you understand what git means and what commit means, what push means. So try to go with the flow, and then you will understand how these things come into play. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So let me just go to GitHub and try to. When you have a, I hope you am still. I'm still sharing the screen. If you can't see a web browser, just let me know. Okay. So if you go to github.com, what you can do is like click this plus icon and then create a new repository or import one, anything, right? But in terms of your software projects, I prefer if you go to like create a new organization. Organization is like a place where you manage your entire code base in a single place, because this is not like going to be belonging to a single person. This is like going to belong to your team. Now we will go with the free plan because we don't want these other fancy stuff. We'll create a free organization, and we will call it like let's say something like this. And I will, for the moment, I will add this as the contact email. I will delete this organization afterwards. And yeah, so this process has to be done by one of your teammates. If you have, usually you have like five-member teams. One of your team members should set up your organization with your team name, and then configure everything else and click next. Okay, afterwards you can add the members of your organization to this organization. To do that, you have to know these usernames of your colleagues or teammates. So I will try to add one of your um, one of your batchmates, Nishad Ahmed, right? We'll try to add him. If I search here, he will come to this drop down, and I can complete the setup. Now I have to log in again. Okay. I hope Nishad is online. So if they will receive this invitation, if Nishad can accept that invitation, and please let me know. We don't want this like survey.
Okay, I accept.
Okay, good. Okay, now if you go to this place where it says your organizations, and you can find that here. And if you go to, you can see there are two people at the moment. And if you go to settings, You can see, you can configure everything else like here. I'm not going to do those things. You can do that on your own. If I go to the people tab, I see these two people. So I'm going to change Nishad's role as an owner. So that's it. Now Nishad and I have to have access to this Fit 19 organization. Now we will create a repository. You can see if you go to the repository, you will get to, you get a link to create a new repository. I will like, so I mentioned that this is simply a folder. So I will create a folder here. You have to create uh, something, let's say, okay, I will create a simple, like, so you can create a repository and you can either make it private or public. It really doesn't matter. If you want, like, if you want your code to be, available for public use, then you can go with public, and if not, you can go with private, right? I will let me just create this as private. You don't have to add these readme files, git ignore for this for the moment, but we will add those later. Now, what you are left with is set of instructions on how to use command line, command prompt to create a new repository, or you can push an existing repository. We will try to create like create a new repository on the command line. So what we have is simple HTML template I used. I think it's here. Yeah. So I have like a simple HTML page where you have like simple this kind of a home page with about us, like so. We will try to add this template to our this project to our repository, right? That is what we are trying to do, and we are trying to do that with this set of codes, with this set of commands. If not, you can also like use these things as well. They are fairly similar. So apart from that, the cloning stuff, we are not at the moment, we are not trying to clone it because we don't have any repository code in this area, right? We need to push our repository into this repository. හරි, කියන්නේ මෙතන repository එකක් නැහැනේ, හිස්නේ මේක දැන්. ඒ නිසා මේක clone කරන එකේ තේරුමක් නැහැ. ඉතින් හිස් එක clone කරලා ඕනනම් අපේ code ටික මේකට copy කරලා එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. මට අපි මෙන්න මේ කියන විදිහට කරලා බලමු. කරලා අපි බලමු අපේ changes ටික push කරන්න. Right? Okay, I will open up this editor and I will open up terminal. You can use command prompt as well. It really doesn't matter once you installed git කියන එක install කරාට පස්සේ terminal එකකිනුත් use කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, we will try to use these commands. I'm using exactly this set of commands, but you can look at these things and copy them individually one by one and paste and push your code, but I'm trying to do it with memory, right? Okay, first of all, we need to type git init, and you will greeted with a message saying initialize the empty git repository in this place. Nice. Now you have to add everything. We if even if this command is called add, we call this process of adding these changes as staging. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මේකට ස්ටේජ් කරනවා කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ස්ටේජ් එකකට දානවා වගේ වැඩක් නෙමෙයි, ඇඩ් කරනවා විතරයි. හරි, මේවා තාම පුෂ් කරන්නේ නැහැ, කමිට් කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි කියන මේ වගේ changes ටිකක් තියෙනවා. ඒවා අපි add කරනවා කියලා තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. If you go to like this tab where you see like source control, you can see that there are like all the files are available here as well. You can type your commit message here and click this tick mark as well to commit. That is also okay, but I'm trying to explain this using the command line because this is knowing the command line will give you like a basic understanding on how these things work. Otherwise, knowing using this easier steps really like don't help you in terms of learning a new technology. Okay, git add. Okay, now I will commit, git commit, and with m flag I'm trying to specify message initialized. You can provide the message like this. Let me like increase the font size. Nice. Too much, I think. Nice. Okay. Now you can see all the files have been taken into the Git source control version controlling system. Now what you have to do is change this branch, because earlier when it comes to Git, the main version or the main branch, we called that the master branch, because in terms of Git as well, because this is GitHub. In GitHub also we had the main branch as the master branch. If you like go into the terminal again and see, if you type like git branch, you can see we are on the master branch. But the problem is GitHub doesn't have a master branch. They have the main branch, right? Because it's not really ethical, this word, right? This master branch, because that implies that it could be like really unethical and not very proper wording to use this as like in a software project. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ දැන් chairman කියන එක chairperson කියලා වෙනස් කරනවානේ. chairman කියන එක chairperson කියලා අපි වෙනස් කරේ ඒක chairman කිව්වම ඒක unethical. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකට chairwoman කියන එකට තව වචනයක් use කරන්න වෙනවානේ. chairwoman කියලා කට්ටිය නැතුව ඇති. chairwoman කෙනෙක් හිටියත් chairman කියලානේ අපි use කරන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඒක නිසා chairperson කියලා හඳුන්වලා දුන්නා වගේ master branch එක GitHub එකේ කට්ටිය main කියලා rename කරා. So we have to change our master branch into main as well. That is why we have this command. In using this command, what we are trying to do is we are trying to rename our branch into main branch. Now if you like, it is renamed to main. Okay, cool. Now we have to add the origin URL. Origin means this repository URL where we have where they have mentioned it here. You can also copy and paste this URL as well. But since it is here, I'm going to copy this. Now, if you type like git remote, don't worry about this command, right? I'm just showing you there are multiple commands to do these things. You don't have to remember everything. Now, if you like type this git remote -v, you will get to know that, okay, you have like this URL is the origin URL. There are two versions for fetch and push. I don't worry about that for now. But we have successfully set the origin URL. We are saying git version controlling system, okay, our repository is hosted in this this place. That is all we are trying to say. Nice. Now, only thing we are left with is git push origin main. Right? Okay. Git push origin main. We are using this origin because we are trying to push this to origin URL. So you have to understand that there could be some other URLs as well, right? You can have like multiple URLs and then you can push to all of them individually, but then again it increases the complexity of what we are trying to do. Now you can see we are like sending 1.4 megabytes of worth of objects into this origin, and this part states we are sending this to the main branch. All right. Push command, you now know we said that push is used to send these changes. Where are we pushing those things? To the origin, and to what version of origin? To the main version. Hari. Again, main branch එක තමයි මේ අවල තියෙන්නේ. දැන් අපි බලමු. Now we will try to see how to create branches. Before showing you that, I will just refresh this page and show you that our code has been added to this repository. Cool. Now you can see my commit message that comes here, and we are only having the main branch, and it is the default branch. And like if you say view all branches, we don't have it. Right. I hope you understood that process. This is the initial process that you have to do. Now, what the other team members, what should they do? They should like clone this repository. You can, like clone this using. There are like GitHub CLI as well. We don't have GitHub CLI. We have command prompt, but you can like type git clone and type this URL to get your own copy to a local machine. Because you have like 5 members team, and one person initializes the repository, and people who are working in this project need to clone this repository into their local machines and then do their changes. Now we will try to simulate that. Okay, usually look at this image. What happens is now we have the origin main. Origin is the GitHub and the main is the main branch. And we are trying to clone it to your repository or the local main. And then we create a branch saying like my feature or something else. And then you do a changes to that feature, that branch, and then you push it to origin my feature, not to origin main. Right? Then confuse vegan එන්නේ මන් දන්නවා. දැන් පටල ගන්න එපා. හරි. සාවධානව අසගෙන ඉන්න. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැක්කා අර කලින් අපි push කරේ කොහෙටද get push origin main. Origin එකේ main branch එකට තමයි push කරේ. Now we will try to create a new branch and see. Okay. I'm not going to clone it again because I already have this. But if I just show you, I will create a new project folder and show you how to clone it as well. Just type git clone and paste. So origin URL, this one, right? Git clone origin URL. Now what will happen is it will create this repository in your local machine. It will download all the code. Great. Now you have your own copy inside this folder. I will use the original folder because I'm not going to, again open up the editor there. All right, now we will create a branch and we will switch to that branch. Branch එක create කරලා branch එකට මාරු වෙනවා. ඒ version එකක් හදලා ඒ version එකට මාරු වෙනවා. හරි. මම දැන් මෙතනින් එහාට version කියන එක use කරන්නේ නැහැ මම. branch කියන එක use කරනවා. branch එක කියන්නේ අපි දැන් main කඳෙන් අහකට ගත්ත පොඩි අත්තක්. හැබැයි මේ මොහොතේ තාම අත්තයි කඳයි දෙකම එක වගේ. වෙනසක් නැහැ. මොකද අපි තාම අත්තට වෙනසක් කරලා නැහැ. අත්ත හදලත් නැහැ. අත්තට වෙනසක් කරන්නේ නැතුව තියෙනකොට branch එකයි අත්තයි දෙකම එකයි. right? Okay, we'll try to do that. කියව නැතුව වැඩේ කරන්න. Git commit. Sorry. Git checkout. We have a different command for that. Git checkout. You know what is the meaning of checkout, right? These days you are using this checkout feature very frequently when you are trying to, shop online for different things. Git checkout -b new branch. I will say my no, I will say like new feature. New feature, this could be like a functionality that you want to implement, right? If you want to implement the login, you can rename this to git checkout b the login page, right? So that is how this branching works. For the moment, I will, try to say it as a new feature. Cool. Okay, switch to new branch. Now if you type like only git branch කියලා විතරක් ගැහුවොත් එහෙම අපිට පේනවා අපි main එකකින් new feature එකට switch වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ තරුවෙන් කියන්නේ අපි ඉන්න branch. We have switched from main to new feature. There are commands to do this in two commands, but I'm just deleting one command. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ branch එක හදන එක වෙනමයි branch එකට switch වෙන එකයි දෙක command දෙකකින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. උනට තනි command එකකින් මේ දෙකම එකපාර කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. මම ඒක use කරුවේ දෙකක් තව මේ තියෙනවා මැදට ඒකත් කියන්න වෙන්නේ. Okay, now we are on the new feature. Now I will try to, change something there. I will beautiful earth. I will change it. I will change it to this. Then I save it. Now you can see in the source control tab in the VS Code, it recognizes we have changed this file. If you open it in VS Code, it will tell you that, okay, earlier we had beautiful earth and now we have fit 19. Likewise, you can use these editors as well. Also, what you can do is you can use another Git client. These are called Git clients, graphical user interfaces. I will open up our repository. We had it in Git basics here. See, now you can see the new feature, main, origin main, all three branches are in the same location, right? Why is that? Because we did a change, but we haven't saved it yet. Okay, now to save, you remember, right? We have to like say git add to stage the changes. This period mark or the dot means we want to stage all the changes. Again, මෙතන තියෙන ඔක්කොම අපිට stage කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් add කරන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාලට එකක් ෆයිල් එකක් දෙකක් විතරක් නම් add කරන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මේ ෆයිල් name එක මෙතන type කරන්න. හරි නැත්නම් ඉතින් easily what you can do is in the source control tab you can add click on this plus mark which says stage changes, and it will automatically add your changes to the current working branch, right? Before going into this, I want to show these commands, right? That is why I'm using it, I mean the command line interface. Then I will say git commit. This is what is changed line. This is what we have done, and we save it. Now, if you go to like Git client like this is called Git extensions. You can download this freely. This is available free of charge in the internet. If you like search for Git extensions, you can download this. Right, now we refresh this. Now you can see our new feature is one step ahead of the main and the origin main. Main means this is the local branch. Origin main is where our repository is in the GitHub. And new feature is like you can see it is one step ahead. We have the commit message, change the line. Okay, I will post this, and we can get push origin. Now not to the main branch, right? Now we are trying to push this to the new feature branch. Nice. So that is how it is. It's not that complex if you try out these things. If you refresh this, here also you can see now we have origin new feature as well, because we pushed that new feature, locally created new feature to the origin. Now we have all those both branches, and you can see it says there's a new feature. Here also you can see new feature is there. Now we told you that this main branch is the default branch, and it should be where all the changes should come at the end of the day. දවසේ අන්තිමට හරි නැත්තම් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක ඉවර වෙද්දි මේන් බ්‍රාන්ච් එක තමයි ඔක්කොම තියෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ අනිත් බ්‍රාන්ච් වල තිබිලා වැඩක් නැහැ. එක්කෙන හදපුවා එක තැන් වල තිබිලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මේන් බ්‍රාන්ච් එකට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? Now you understand what these 4 steps. We cloned it, and when we created the new branch, and we did a change, and we committed, then we pushed it. Now we have origin my feature as well. If you visualize it furthermore, when your project grows, you will have like this set of different kind of branches diverging away from the master branch or the main branch. So this is how we are trying to visualize it, right? And now the problem with this is over time. So as I mentioned earlier, the problem is we have 2 branches in the origin. What we want to do is we want to incorporate this change where it says my feature into the main branch. My feature branch එකේ තියෙන change එක main එකට ගන්නවා. Right? To do that, we use a thing called a pull request. Now what it does is when you create a pull request to a target branch, if there are no issues, like if it can be automatically merged, then what you are left with is a new main branch with the change from the my feature branch. My feature branch එකෙන් change එක origin main එකට incorporate වුණාම අන්තිමට origin main එකට මේ my feature branch එක එනවා. ඒකට අපි කියන pull request එකක් කියලා. Using GitHub, we can automatically merge it if there are no any issues. I will come to what are those issues. Then issues we'll come to that. This GitHub tells you like you can create a pull request now. You can do that now. Right? You can go there, or else you can go into this pull request step, and you can create new pull request, and you can say, okay, I want to look at this arrowhead. We are trying to incorporate the changes from new feature to the main. So it says, okay, there are one commit where it says change line, and this is the change we did. We changed beautiful earth into fit 19. And if I create this pull request, and I can say like what is the description, and give a name, right? And then you create it. Now it's checking for availability for merge it automatically. Now it says, okay, this branch has no conflicts with the base branch. Merging can be performed automatic. Okay, this is this scenario. We can automatically merge now. So without further ado, we can try to merge it. Confirm merge. Usually this can be, this only should be done by a single team member. You can like assign people to this in the reviews tab. On my team currently, only I have Nishad. So yeah, so he can review it and then he can merge it as well. It really doesn't matter. What I'm trying to do is demonstrate what you can do. Okay, pull request successfully merged and closed. Okay, this is cool. Now, like if you go to, let's see how it shows in the graph here. Right. So now it doesn't know that we have merged these two branches, right? So we call this as divergence. Let's go back to the slides. Okay, now we merged it. Now the problem with this is over time the origin main gets updated with different pull requests. ඒ කියන්නේ ටීම් එකේ එක්කෙනෙක් විතරක් නෙමෙයිනේ PR දාන්නේ. දැන් ගොඩක් හතර දෙනාක් තව අනිත් හතර දෙනාත් දාලා මේක වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඔයාගේ ලෝකල් මේන් එක ඔයාගේ වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් එතන වෙනස් වුණාට මෙහෙ වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ ඉතින්. So what you have to do is you have to update your local main, right? So it is can be visualized like this. Your main branch get like new commits E, F, and G, but other remote branch gets like some few other commits, and then it these things are now going in different two paths, right? Because when this happens, uh, your local main is not updated over time with the PRs and stuff, and so we need to mitigate that issue as well. We have two set of commands for that as well. We call them git fetch and git pull. Actually git pull actually does the git fetch as well. Again git fetch එක git pull එක ඇතුලේ git fetch එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වුණාට අපි fetch එක කරන්නේ why we need to do fetch, because we need to understand there could be other branches as well in the origin, not origin main, not origin new feature. There could be other branches as well from where your other team members have created. So we need to see all those things as well. Okay. So that is why we are trying to first of all git fetch as well. Git fetch will update your local main, not local main, your local repository with all those changes. But when you say git pull, all these changes will be merged into local main. තේරුණා නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ git fetch එකෙන් මෙහෙම අප්ඩේට් වෙලා මේක මෙහෙම අප්ඩේට් එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා, මෙහෙම අලුතෙන් branch එකක් හදලා තියෙනවා, මේ branch එකේ මේ වගේ commits තියෙනවා කියලා messages ටික අන්නේ information ටික ගන්න එක විතරයි වෙන්නේ. main එක අප්ඩේට් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. git fetch එකක් ඒ හින්දා භයානක වැඩක් නෙමෙයි. ඕන කෙනෙකුට කරන්න පුළුවන්. Let's try to do that. git pull ගැහුවම තමයි පොඩ්ඩක් upset යන්නේ. ඒක බලමු. Nice. If you, try to refresh this, now you can see අර වෙච්ච change ටික පේනවා දැන්. මෙහෙම එළියට branch එකක් හැදිලා තියෙනවා new feature කියලා. ඒක මෙන්න මෙතනදී merge වෙලා තියෙනවා. කවුද මම මිනිත්තු 4කට පෙර තමයි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. So this is okay. Now we will try to uh, see what this pull does. We don't have to pull it because we haven't like we haven't since we have merged it, to the origin branch, and the new feature is where I created the feature, which is local new feature, and then I pushed it. We don't have an issue at the moment, but if our origin main have another branch with some other changes, our uh, repository might get affected. We call them as merge conflicts. We'll try to see that. Now, Nishad, can you what you have to do, Nishad? We will try to get help from one of your batchmates. Nishad, what you have to do is clone this repository and create a new branch with whatever name you like. You can call it whatever name you like. And in that branch, what you have to do is change the exact same line which I changed, which is the line 59. You can type like maybe something else. You can type your name, or other. You can type git basics maybe. Change this line to git basics. Like so. And then you have to push that branch to the origin. Is that understood, Nisha?
Yes, Saya.
Okay. Let me know when you have done it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. නිෂානුයි නිෂාඩුයි පැටලෙනවා. දැන් මටත් පැටලෙනවා එක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. පොඩ්ඩක් කල්පනා කරනවා නම කියන්න කලින්. Okay, so what will Nishad do? I will explain again. Nishad will create another branch in his local machine. මොකද එයා වෙන team member කෙනෙක්. එතකොට එයාගේ feature එක වෙනස්. ඉතින් මේකම එයා කරන්න ඕනේ. එයා වෙන feature එකක් කරනවා. I can create like I can assign issue. Here, if you go to issues and create a new issue for him, let's create like while Nishad is doing that, I'm trying to explain few other features in GitHub. And I can submit it, and then I can assign Nishad. Likewise, you can give assign this set of tasks to your team members, and you can add labels as well. Maybe let's say an enhancement. If you go to issues, you can track easily what have been done and what is remaining. This issue is open. If you go to the close tabs, you can see what has been finished in your project. So currently this issue is open, Nishad. So we will see. And also what you can do is you can go to this project tab as well, and then create a project, and I will call it obviously we don't have time to show everything, but I will try to end it easily. I mean before 6 maybe. I will now you have to create a template for these projects. Don't worry about everything. You just can check what is Kanban. Kanban is like a basic project management framework. I will create a basic Kanban project. After you creating this, you will get this kind of a board where you have like to do, in progress, and done. You can like move these cards between these different columns. So at the start of the project, you will have like set of task, right? And once that task is done, what you can do is you can when a team members started working on this task, they can move it to the in progress section, and after they have done it, they can move it to the done column. You can have another column as well. Let's call it like review maybe. Yeah, let's see. No, we don't have a preset. So So review comes before done. So if it is the login page, first of all, it goes to the in progress, then it goes to the review phase, and then it goes to the done. Okay, so this is some other features that you can use when you are trying to, use it, create your own projects in GitHub. Okay, let's see.
I have pushed my code to my branch.
Okay, so we have a Nishad branch. Let's check that Nishad branch, and it says this branch is one commit ahead of main. All right, now let's do the same again. Git fetch. Says okay, we have detected the new branch, Nishad. All right. Now what happens is he changed the same line, right? This line. So the problem is if I, try to create a PR for this. Let's take, maybe I cannot create it because I'm not the person who, let's see. Since I'm an owner, I can create it. Maybe new pull request. If I refresh it, okay, it is still able to merge. Maybe I'll try to merge it to Nishad's branch. Okay. Now we have issue. Cannot automatically merge. Okay, we have a question. So saying what if there was an error in one line, like missing closing tag or something? The issue with that is actually you have to check that by your own. Git doesn't actually don't do this code analysis. Git only checks for changes. If you have something like missing tag or missing ending bracket or something like that, Git won't recognize those errors. Right? If you want to recognize those errors, we have to use like linters. There are some few set of software called linters. Maybe I will show you. Okay, linter is a tool that analyzes source code, so you can use a linter. So if you are using maybe JavaScript or the TypeScript, you can use ESLint. Right, ESLint is actually available in the Git VS Code Marketplace. ESLint. You can install any one of this ESLint or something like that, and then you can see for yourself these kind of errors are there, right? If you're working on another backend technology, there should be similarly there should be linters for every other language like Java, C# or something else. Yeah, so to analyze code, you have to use a linter. So that is out of the session today. So I will try to do this. Now imagine, so since this is like we cannot simulate a merge conflict in the main branch. We will assume Nishad's branch is the main branch for the moment. Hari. දැන් නිෂාඩ්ගේ branch එකට නෙමෙයිනේ අපිට merge කරන්න ඕනේ main එකටනේ. දැන් අපි ප්‍රශ්න කරලා තියෙන්නේ main එකට merge conflict එකක් simulate කරන්න අපිට වෙලා යනවා මෙතන. හරි. මෙච්චර changes කරලත් merge conflict එකක් වෙන්නේ නැතුව මේක merge කරනවා කියන්නේ ලොකු කියන්නේ ඒක මිනිස්සෙක් කරන්න ඕන වැඩක් නෙමෙයි කරන්න ඕන වැඩක් නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. අරගේ change කරයි මෙයාගේ change එකයි බලලා ඕනේ මොනවද එපායෝ මොනවද කියලා තීරණය කරලා අයින් කරන එක. Right? So GitHub is doing that automatically, but the problem with our scenario is we don't have any conflict. So I will try to do this. Okay, I will try to merge my branch into Nishad's branch. Can't automatically merge. This is what you call as a merge conflict. Okay, now we did this. Actually, we didn't do that. Okay, let's go back to this scenario. Okay, now we have a pull request and we cannot automatically merge. So this is, if you visualize it, this is the issue that we are facing at the moment. So we have the origin my feature and we have the origin main. Origin main has been changed and we cannot like merge these two branches because it says we cannot automatically merge. To do that, we have to do these set of steps. First of all, we need to change our branch into the branch where we want to merge. Now, since we want to merge it to the main branch, we have to check out the main branch, right? In our case, we want to merge our feature into Nishad branch because we are assuming Nishad branch is the main branch. වරද්ද ගන්න එපා. හරි අපි මෙහෙම branches දෙකක් merge කරන්න කියන්නේ users ලගේ කියන්නේ team එකේ members දෙන්නෙක්ගේ branch දෙකක් merge කරන්න නැහැ නේ. ඉතින් එහෙම ලොකු අවශ්‍යතාවයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැති වෙනව නෙමෙයි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහරට එක team member කෙනෙකුට එන error එකක් විසඳ ගන්න තව කෙනෙක් help කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට එයාගේ branch එක ගන්න වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. හරි. Okay, now we will try to get fetch again because we have few changes in the origin repository made by Nishad, as it says. Now, if you try to visualize it using this Git extensions IDE or other Git extensions client, you can see new branches here. We have the origin Nishad as well. So yeah, so what we are trying to do, as I mentioned here, is we are trying to merge origin feature feature into origin Nishad. So first of all, we need to move into this the branch that we want to merge in. So in this case, it is the Nishad branch, but in your case, it could be the main branch, right? So we will check out the Nishad branch now. Nice. Now we have switched to Nishad branch. And while I'm typing, there could be another changes as well in the Nishad branch, right? That's why we have this git pull command. We are, as I mentioned earlier, pull command includes the fetch command as well. අපිට Nishad branch එකේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම features ටික අපි ගාවට ගන්න තමයි ඕන. හරි. So what we will do is, do the git pull as well. Already up to date. We don't have any other changes in the origin GitHub එකේ වෙන changes නැති නිසා already up to date. All right. Now we have updated our local Nishad branch to the origin. That is what we did. හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ local branch එක මේ අපිට merge කරන්න ඕනේ branch එකේ local branch එක update කරගන්නවා. හරි. Origin branch එකට සමාන කරගන්න. We are equalizing these two branches by using a git pull. Okay, this is the first thing that we did. Now what we need to do is we need to go back to our branch which we like tried to merge earlier, right? So again we will try to sorry about that. We will try to check out our branch. New feature, as I remember. Yes. Now we are in the new git new feature. If you say git branch, you can see we have 3 branches and we are in the new feature branch. Okay. Now what we want to do is this command git merge main. We are trying to merge the branch origin or the main branch into our feature branch. Origin එකේ තියෙන දැන් නම් origin එකේ නැහැනේ. ඇයි? We now have that changes in our local main. Now what we're trying to do is merge these changes into my feature or other new feature branch. This is the same thing that we try to do in the GitHub as well. දැන් මේ pull request එක දාලා කරන්න හැදුවෙත් අපි ඒකම තමයි. When we say we created a pull request, we try to do the same. We try to merge my feature into origin main, but that didn't work because we had uh, merge conflict. The GitHub cannot automatically merge it. Now we are trying to do it in our local machine. Local එකේ අපි ඒක කරන්න යනවා. හැබැයි පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස්. අනිත් පැත්තට තමයි කරන්න යන්නේ. හරි? We are trying to do it opposite side. Because you cannot change the main branch. Then make a local my feature. If you try to do it other way around, if you try to do it locally, merge my feature into main branch, with the main branch gets changed into local machine. It's best practice that if you can keep this main branch without doing any local changes. Main branch එකට locally change කරන එක එච්චර හොඳ වැඩක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක pull request අරහම main branch එක update කරන එක තමයි හොඳ practice, best practice, right? That is what we are trying to do, but that didn't work. Now what we are trying to do is do it the other way around and see what are the main conflicts. We will see that, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, git merge main. In our case, we will do git merge measure. Okay, where am I typing? Am I stuck? Yeah. See, you get the same message, automatic merge failed, fix conflicts, and then commit the results. That is the issue that we need to resolve. We need to fix these conflicts and then we can commit the result. So if you go to like for fixing commits, actually you need to like go through this file. You say it says that conflict, merge conflict in index.html. Now what you have to do is go through this file, right? And see where are these merge conflicts. The Visual Studio Code provides like a nice way to you to handle this. You can accept current change, accept incoming change, accept both changes maybe, or you can compare changes like we saw in the earlier one. You can do anything. So you have to go through this file and see where these conflicts are happening, and then you can keep the change. And if you like go to that git extensions as well, it will tell you, okay, merge is currently in progress with merge conflicts. If you try to resolve it, okay, I don't have a merge tool configured. You can configure a merge tool in the git extensions plugin. No, tool settings. If you go to settings and then you can configure a tool. Basically a merge tool is something like a VS Code editor where you can go through the file and check for this check for these conflicts, right? So you can see my merge tool is empty. You can pick one of those merge tools here maybe, and then you have to give path to these things. You have to install these in a using a different software. As an example, this kdiff3 is a good merge tool because it is free. You can install it and then you can give path to that, and then you can do that in this ID as well. But for the moment, I'm trying to do it in the VS Code itself. Let's take my change. I'm saying, okay, Nishad's change is not going to work for me. I'm going to stay with my change, right? And here also I'm going to accept my change. There's another, okay, we only had like two areas, right? Is it? Yeah. If not, it will tell me again, hopefully. Yeah, we don't have anything, right? Okay, now what we need to is we need to git commit, or rather before that we need to git stage everything, and then we say git commit merge conflicts resolved. Okay, great. Now we can do a git push. Git push origin new feature. Right. Now we have like a resolved branch, merge conflict resolved branch in the new feature. Now we will try to do the same again. Now hopefully we don't get this can't automatically merge issue. Yeah, now we can automatically merge. This is all you need to know to get around your software projects. This merge conflict resolving conflicts part is the hardest part. Everything else is pretty easy, as you already know, as you already seen in this demonstration as well. Resolving these conflicts, it becomes very hard, but it is, in time you will get to know these things, and then you can easily understand, right? Okay, now what we did a pull, and then we merged these changes which were in the main, in our case, which were in the Nishad branch. We merged into the local, our local, my feature local branch, and then we pushed it. Once this process is done, you should be able to automatically merge this, right? That is the only thing. ඒ ටික තමයි ඇත්තටම මේ GitHub වල software project එක කරන්න දැනගෙන සිටිය යුතු. Resolving a conflict. මේ conflict එකක් resolve කරන එක ටිකක් අමාරුයි කියලා කෙනෙකුට හිතෙන්න පුළුවන්. එකම දේ ඒකට අවශ්‍ය tool එකක් ඕගොල්ලෝ බලන්න. KDF3 is okay. ඒ tool එකක් වැඩ කරන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අර දැන් අපි දැක්කනේ VS Code වලදී පෙන්නපු විදිය. ඒ විදිහටම පෙන්නනවා. ඉතින් මෙතන දැන් tool එකක් configure කරලා නැති නිසා ඒක පෙන්වන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ විදිහටම ඩිෆරන්ස් එක පෙන්වනවා. මෙතනින් මේ ෆයිල් එක එනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ නිෂාඩ්ගේ බ්‍රාන්ච් එකෙන් මේ ෆයිල් එක එනවා, මගේ බ්‍රාන්ච් එකෙන් මේ ෆයිල් එක එනවා. මේ දෙක එක උඩ දාන්න බෑ. ඒක තමයි merge conflict එකක් කියන්නේ. automatically resolve කරන්න බැරි merge එකක්. ඇත්තටම තමයි conflict එකක් කියන්නේ. So what you have to do is open up, and it will tell you where the conflict is happening. That is why, like, let me like show. Where is it? Okay, here. Merge conflict in the index HTML. Likewise, it will tell you where the conflicts are. And then all you have to do is go to that file and resolve the issues. You can either remove everything and you can select, you can do something on your own as well. Anything that you prefer to the merge conflicts, and then you can send it. All right. Similarly, what we did, we again did a commit, and then we pushed it. Right. So this should be the case, but there are some other things. This is the easiest way to do this. එතකොට හිතාගන්න, එතකොට දැන් මේක sorry, මේක මේ විදිහට කරන්න පොඩ්ඩක් ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකක් කරන්න ඔයගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක පටන් අරගෙන කරගෙන යන්න. You have to practice this, and then you will try to you can, at the moment, if you don't have projects, that is fine. You can just create an organization in the GitHub and add your members, and you can try to host a simple project like this, like I did, and then you can do different changes to that and see how it happens, because practice is the most important thing. I had like my colleague saying when I was in the faculty in level 2, Software project is the easy part, but understanding Git is the hardest part. There are a few comments like that as well. So you have to understand that this is not that hard. Only thing that you have to do is you have to practice, and then you have to learn it. These kind of commands, these are like, at a glance you can see these are not really hard to understand. This is natural language, right? මේ code ලියනා නෙමෙයිනේ, මේ කියන එකම තමයි මේ කරන්නේ, right? check out කරනවා, merge කරනවා, කොහෙන්ද merge, මොකද්ද merge කරන්නේ, main එක තමයි merge කරන්නේ. pull කරනවා කියන්නේ මොකද, අදිනවනේ. එතෙන්ට එන්න. pull කරනවා කියන්නේ අදිනවනේ. අදිනවා කියන්නේ ඉතින් උඩින් ඇදලා ගන්නවා. right? Pulling means getting the changes from the upstream. මේක step 1. And then you before doing that you have to change your local branch into this branch or other main branch using checkout, and then you pull it, and then you, because you need an updated version of the origin main to simulate this merge conflict. Then අර උඩ මෙතන origin main එකේ origin my feature එකේ තිබිච්ච issue එක merge conflict එක අපි මෙතන local එකේ simulate කරපු එකනේ කරේ. උඩ ඒක කරන්න බෑ, මොකද GitHub එක editor එකක් නෙමෙයි. GitHub is not a software code editor, right? They have a code editor, but doing these changes on GitHub is not recommended. So what we did is we tried to do that the same thing in the local machine. We updated our origin main to local main using a git pull, and then we merged the local branch into a feature branch. ඉතින් මේ පැත්තට මේක conflict එකක් එනවා නම් හරිද? If you get a conflict when you try to go this way from this way, කිව්වට පේන්නේ නැද්ද දන්න? If you try to simulate a merge conflict into this way, like if you try to merge origin my feature into main branch, if you get a merge conflict, same should be happen the other way around, right? අනිත් පැත්තට ගියත් ඒකම වෙන්න ඕනේ. So that's what we did. We updated the local main branch. Yeah. Local main branch, and then we merged that local main branch into my feature. And එතකොට තමයි merge conflict එක. Then we resolved conflicts in the step 3 using any editor. editor එකෙන්ම කරන්න පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් merge tool එකක් use කරන්න පුළුවන්. එච්චර දුර මේක කරන එක තේරුමක් නැහැ කියලා මට හිතෙනවා. මොකද merge tool use කරන එක එච්චර අමාරු වැඩක් නෙමෙයි. අර editor එකේ තිබ්බා වගේම අපිට අවශ්‍ය code එක මොකද්ද, අවශ්‍ය නැති එක මොකද්ද කියලා file එක දිගේ ගිහිල්ලා බලලා අවශ්‍ය ටික තියාගෙන, and then we commit, and then we push it. After all those processes are done, they should be able to merge properly. That's the only hard part that we discussed today. Okay, we'll move on. There is another command as you saw here. There's another command called rebase main as well. Instead of merge branch name, you can type git rebase branch name as well. This is also a good command. In rebase, what happens is this: in the merge command, we all our features are merged into main branch in a single commit. We'll try to see it in here maybe. Okay, we need to first of all fetch all. You have all these different menus and icons in these git clients. That is true, but I want to show you how to do it in git terminal. Otherwise you don't understand what is happening. මේ බොත්තම් එව්වට මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා දැනගෙන තේරුමක් නැහැ. මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා දැනගන්න ඕනේ. බොත්තමින් තේරුමක් නැහැ නේ අපිට, right? Okay, now we fetch the changes. Now you can see we okay, we haven't merged it, right? That is why it doesn't show up here. Let's try to merge it and see. Able to merge, create PR. After you create PR, you should assign one of your team members to review it, maybe. If that is done, you can merge. The reviewer can confirm the merge. And I can, close this issue as well. Close issue by saying some commit command. Now, if you go to issues, no open issues, we have one closed issue. So likewise, you can manage your project very easily using Git and GitHub. That is what I wanted to show basically, not to bombard with you guys with all these commands and stuff. Okay, now we can fetch it again. The beauty of fetch is, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't update anything. It just tell you this information what happened everywhere else. අනිත් තැන්වල මොකද උනේ කියලා update එකක් ගන්න. Okay, now you can see we have a command called merge conflicts resolved in the origin. So you can see this, there is a line going here, right? Okay, so this is one commit, as you can see. But what happens is when you say rebase, you get all these commits that we had in the our feature branch as well. Feature branch එකේ තිබ්බනේ commit ටික. ඒව ටික මේ branch එකට ගිහින් ඉස්සරහින් set වෙනවා වගේ වැඩ. This is rebase. You don't have to understand this rebase. You have a solution for now for merge conflicts. Merge conflicts solve කරන්න solution එකක් තියෙනවා. rebase එකේ වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඒවා පොඩ්ඩක් check කරලා බලන්න ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ වෙලාව අරගෙන. Then you can easily understand what is happening, right? Okay, we are coming to like nearly, we are trying to end this. There is another concept called forking as well. Fork කරනවා කියන්නේ තමන්ගේ project එකට okay, fork කරනවා කියන්නේ තමන්ගේ project තමන්ගේ origin එකට ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ organization එකේ තියෙන project එක ගේන එකට. Forking means getting the repository in your organization into your profile. We call it your repository. Let's see how that's happening. So if I like go here and you can see there's a fork button here, and if I try to fork it, I'm not able to fork it because like let's see, this is okay. So this is, since this is a private repository, I cannot fork it. If this is this was a public repository, I can fork it, maybe because I'm the one who created the project. I cannot fork it because I'm the owner of this, or one of the owners of this organization. So if you're going in this pattern, if you're trying to create an organization and create repositories inside the organization, then you don't need to use forks. But if you have like, if you are trying to contribute to open source projects, like let's say okay, let's say .NET. Okay, so Microsoft has this open source core framework called .NET. If you're trying to contribute to this, what you have to do is you have to first fork it. Then it will ask where do you want to fork it. You can select your profile, and then you can treat this repository a fork of Microsoft.NET, which now resides in your profile.NET. Microsoft.NET repository එක දැන් ඔයාගේ profile එකේ .NET කියලා repository එකක් හදාගෙන එතෙන්ට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. හරි. Now you can treat this as the okay. I don't know why this is happening. Okay, now you can treat this forked repository as origin, and then you can do the same things earlier, like cloning and pushing, doing changes and stuff, creating branches there. And similarly, you can do a pull request to the origin or rather upstream. Whenever you create a fork, we call that origin repository as the upstream repository, not origin. Now your repository becomes origin. මේ නම් දෙක වෙනස් වෙනවා. හරි. ඔයාගේ profile එකට ආපු එක origin වෙලා අරක upstream වෙනවා. ඒකට තව fork ගොඩක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ repository මේ changes වෙනවා. There are changes coming from these forks as well, because other people also fork this repository. And then you try to create a pull request again, then you will get a merge conflict. And what you have to do is you have to update your or local repository from this upstream. දැන් ඔරිජින් එකෙන් අප්ඩේට් කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ නේ. කලින් නම් අපි ඔරිජින් එකෙන් අප්ඩේට් කරලා ඒකට ඒ බ්‍රාන්ච් එකට මාරු වෙලා ඒකෙන් අප්ඩේට් කරලා එහෙම එකක් කරානේ. දැන් මේකෙදි එහෙම කරලා බෑ. මේකෙදි අප්ඩේට් කරන්න ඕනේ අප්ස්ට්‍රීම් එක. එතකොට අප්ස්ට්‍රීම් URL එකක් දා ගන්න ඕනේ. අපි තිබ්බේ ඔරිජින් URL එක විතරයිනේ, මතකයි නේද? ඔහොම ඉතින් ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඔක්කොම කියන්න බෑනේ. ඒ ෆෝක් කරන්න ගියාම එහෙම තමයි. හරි. Git remote. I will try to just type it rather than trying to find it. You see, you only had origin URLs. If you're trying to work on a fork, you have to have an upstream URLs as well. මේවා නිකන් සර්ච් කරාම ඔයාලට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද URL එකක් add කරන්නේ. ඒවල easy වැඩ හරි. Right. So as you can see, if you like go into Microsoft.net, you can contribute to these projects in GitHub as well. Sorry. If you go to like so you can see there are 2k forks. 2000ක් forks තියෙනවා මේකේ. ඒතකොට මේවා තමයි කික් කට්ටිය අරගෙන ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ වගේ වැඩ කරන් යනවා. මොකක් හරි අලුත් ෆීචර් එකක් හදලා ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒක they create a pull request. You can see here. See, these are pull requests created by different people. And if you go into one of these, let's see, add micro bootstrap. Okay, this is not merged yet. If you like to see what the change they have done, ඒගොල්ලෝ කරපු change එක commits වල තියෙනවා. So they have changed this one line, right? So if you understand what is .NET and if you can do these things, this is really very good for your reputation, because you can. Okay, enough of that. So forking is that you can understand, go through these things and try to understand forking later, because we are running with time. As you can see, these technical sessions are not cannot be completed within like 1 hour. So yeah, a few more useful things. If you want to undo recent commits, you can use this command, git reset hard head. So this is the head. So if you want to go like 3 commits back, change this number to 3. ඒ කියන්නේ git 3ක් විතර ආපස්සට undo කරගෙන යන්න ඕන නම් මේ command එකෙන් පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මේ වගේ IDE, if you are trying to use a git client, you can undo easily with if you try to right click on a commit, and then you can see there are like here you can see reset current branch to here, reset another branch to here. There are different options available in, because Git is very advanced when it comes to managing software projects. But in here, what I want to tell you is very basic stuff that you can get started with GitHub and Git when you are doing your level 2 projects. So this is the command for that. I'm including these commands because you have to know these things are available. Otherwise, if you got stuck, you don't know what to do. The sole purpose of having Git is to reduce these kind of problems. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ වගේ problems එන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මේවා එන එක නවත්තන එකම තමයි Git වල purpose එක. එතකොට Git වලට බය වෙලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Git use කරලාම තමයි කරන්න ඕන. That is the most like main advantage of Git, because these kind of errors can happen, and using Git only can help you to overcome those. Okay, another command. This is how to move recent commits to a new branch with Git. So this is actually come in handy when you with if you have mistakenly committed onto main branch, right? I told you that we don't change main branch in the local machine. We only change the main branch using pull requests, right? Now what happens if you mistakenly committed onto the main branch? You can move these most recent commits to a new branch with Git as well. You just have to use these 2 commands. අපි හිතමු Git 3ක් වැරදිලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගැහුවා කියලා main branch එකට. එතකොට main branch එකට මුකුත් change කරපුවා undo කරලා බෑ, reset කරලා බෑ. reset කරොත් අර කරපු change ටික නැති වෙනවනේ. ඒකයි මේ දෙකේ වෙනස. හරි. දැන් මේක undo කරොත් එහෙම අර කරපුවා ටික අයින් වෙනවා. කරපු ටික changes ටික තියාගෙන branch එක වෙන branch එකකට මාරු කරනවා. We are keeping the changes and then we are switching to a different branch called a new branch. Isella we switched to the new branch and then we use this command to move last 3 commits to this new branch. Master branch එකේ තියෙන අන්තිම commits 3 new branch එකට මාරු කරන්න මේ විදිහට. Okay, if එක commit එකයි නම් මේ 3 කියන එක එක කියලා මාරු. Okay. Sometimes the git push also doesn't work due to some issues that you did, some mistakes. ඔයාලගේ mistakes නිසා push කරන එක කරන්න බැරි වෙනවා. අපහු මොකද origin branch එක වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන් ඔයාලගේ local branch එකට වැඩි. එතකොට force කරන්න පුළුවන්. This is how you force a push, right? Okay, that's it I wanted to share with you guys. If you guys have any questions, you can ask. Because like this is like very basic stuff. I have linked few resources as well to getting started with. If you want to get one of these IDEs or other Git clients, you can use there's a Git client called the Git Kraken, and then Git extensions which I use, and there are source tree, tower. If you have this GitHub developer package or the GitHub student, I hope you guys know this thing, GitHub student package. Yeah, Git student developer pack. You can access this student developer pack if you create and add your university email as one of your emails. If I go to the settings and if I go to the email section, if you add this university email into this set of emails, you can add an email here. Then you can apply for this student developer pack. GitHub student developer pack includes like many new platforms, hosting platforms, IDEs, other developer tools. There you can find Git Kraken, a really nice Git this is actually for the free plan. You don't get access to the private repositories, but if you have pro plan, you can access private repositories. So if your project is private, then you cannot use Git Kraken, right? So Git Kraken is this. It is much more attractive than I think Git extensions, but I think it actually differentiates depending on what you think about set of functionalities available in these things. You can see you have push, fetch, branch, stash. Okay, since we are on stash, I will explain what the stash also is, because Rukshan is asking with the we can. Okay, let's take like 5 minutes and explain what the stash is also. So what happens is, if you have like changes, uncommitted changes, let's like change few things here. I will change this and like change these things, few things. I'm in terms, changing means not deleting. I'm trying to simulate the scenario where you have few changes in your working directory, and if I go to like maybe I'll go to CSS as well. Yeah, I will try to change few CSS files as well. Now I have like changes to 2 files, right? Now imagine a scenario you want to switch branches. Then branch මාරු කරන්න ඕනේ වුණා කියලා හිතන්න. Okay, let's see, where are we at? Okay, we are in the new branch. Let's see, let's assume we want to change our branch to some other branch. දැන් අර කලින් වගේ branch මාරු කරන්න ඕන වුණා කියලා දැන් අපි ගොඩක් branch මාරු කරන්නේ. So we try to change branches. If we try to අර merge conflict එහෙම ආපු වෙලාවේ branches මාරු කරා. දැන් අපි changes අපේ එකේ කර කර ඉන්න ගමන් දැන් කොහොම වැඩක් වෙලා දැන් ඔය branch එක මාරු කරන්න යනවා. Now the problem is your local changes to the following files would be overwritten by checkout index.html. Please commit your changes or stash them before you switch branches. දැන් මේ branch edit කර කර ඉඳලා commit නොකර edit කර කර ඉඳලා branch මාරු කරන්න ගියාම ඔන්නම ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. When you try to switch branches, when you are trying and if you are in the process of changing your code, Git will tell you, okay, you cannot do that operation because you have to either commit your changes or stash them before you switch branches. So what we have to do is basically say git stash. Now you have these changes will go away because it will be saved to a different different location or rather different database. Now you can easily switch branches and do your work in that branch. And once you are done with that, you can go back to your branch and you can reapply those changes. Are calling changes. දැන් නැති වුණා වගේ වුණාට එහෙම නෑ හැබැයි. ඒවා සේව් වෙලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපිට මේ branch එක මාරු කරගන්නනේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ නිසා අපි කරන්නේ ඒ කර කර හිටපු changes ටික වෙනම file එකක වගේ එකකට save කරනවා කියලා හිතා. එහෙම save කරලා අපි ගත්තා අලුත් branch එකට මාරු වෙලා අපේ වැඩේ කරලා we did moved into a different branch and we did our assume we did our change, and then if you try to go back to the branch that we had earlier, sorry, it is new feature, right? Okay, now we say like git git stash list. We'll see, okay, we have one stash, work in progress or new feature. VIP means WIP means work in progress, in new feature, merge conflicts or something like that. හරි මේ 0 නේ index එක 0. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ තව stash දාලා තිබ්බනම් ඒව 0 1 2 3 කිගේ stash විදිහට add වෙනවා. Right? So this stash is 0 stash. Now we can easily apply those changes using git apply. Right? Now you have all those changes again. ඔකට තමයි stash කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. We can do this in this using this git clients as well, right? But knowing what is happening underneath these fancy buttons and commands is very good, right? Okay, now that is what I wanted to show you in terms of stash. There are a few more commands like git commands. Many commands there are, but we don't have time to go through all of those things. But for your software projects, these should be enough. All right, thank you guys for coming. And if you guys have any other questions, you can ask them. Otherwise, we can wind up for today.